Hello students, welcome to the practical session of database management system. In today's practical session, we are going to execute queries for integrity constraint. We already know integrity constraints are nothing but the rules that we apply on a database or on any relation to ensure correctness of data, to ensure consistency of data. Okay, so in relational database model, we have three types of integrity constraint: domain integrity constraint, entity integrity constraint, and referential integrity constraint. Under domain integrity constraint category, we have three constraints: not null, check, and default. In entity integrity constraint category, we have unique constraint and primary key constraint. And foreign key is a referential integrity category constraint. Okay, so now let's execute all the queries. First, I am creating one company database. Okay, so by using query create database. Okay, so create database company, one database is creating. Okay, so now open this database for use by using command use company, executing. Now your database is ready to use. Now here I am creating one table, that is employee table, to store information about employees working in the company. So my query is create table employee. Okay, and in bracket I have attribute employee id, which is of integer type. Okay, and I want to set this employee id as a primary key. Okay, so here I have written primary key. Remember, whenever you want to apply any constraint at the time of table creation, then you first write down the name of your attribute, and after that attribute name and size and data type, you write down or you specify the name of your constraint that you want to apply for that attribute. Here I want to apply primary key for employee ID, so I have written employee ID, then the data type of employee ID, that is integer, and then I have written primary key, that is the name of constraint. Okay, so this is the way you can specify constraint at the time of table creation. Okay, my next attribute is ename, which is of character type. For character type attribute, we always specify some size. Okay, so size is 10, and I want to apply not null constraint for ename. It means that we cannot enter null value for employee name. Okay, then I have another attribute, that is department id, did, which is of integer type, and I also and here also I want to apply not null constraint, so I have written did integer not null. Okay, then I have salary attribute here. The data type is again integer, and I want to check I want to apply check constraint on salary attribute, and while inserting data I want to check whether that salary is greater than equal to 5000 or not. Okay, so I want user to insert the salary value which is greater than equal to 5000 only. Okay, if user is trying to enter salary which is less than 5000, then the system will give the error. Okay, so by using check constraint you can specify this condition. So here I have written salary integer, then name of constraint, that is check, and in bracket write down your condition. So my condition is salary should be greater than equal to 5000. Okay, so I have given this constraint, salary integer check salary greater than equal to 5000. It means that now whenever any user tries to insert data into the employee table, then the system will check for the value of salary, and if that value is greater than equal to 5000, then only that row will get inserted into the table, otherwise that user will get a error. Okay, so this is the check constraint. Then again I have another attribute, that is phone number, which is of integer type, and I want phone number to be unique, so here I have specified unique constraint. Okay, now let's again read this query. So my query is create table employee. In this employee table I have attribute employee id, which is of integer type, and the constraint that I have given on this employee eid attribute is primary key. Okay, then another attribute is employee name, which is of character type, and I have given not null constraint to this employee name. did integer type having not null constraint. Then salary is of integer type attribute and it is having check constraint. So check constraint is salary should be greater than equal to 5,000. Okay, and then I have phone number or phone attribute which is of integer type and it is having unique constraint. Okay, now see, when you apply primary key constraint, it means that that attribute should not contain null value and that attribute should not contain duplicate value. So these are the conditions for employee ID because it is a primary key. Then when you apply not null constraint to any attribute, then you cannot insert null value for that attribute. Okay, then when you give unique constraint to any attribute, it means that the attribute values should be unique for all the rows. You cannot insert duplicate values there if the attribute is unique. And when you give check constraint on the attribute, it means that you need to check some condition, and if that new record is satisfying that condition, then only record will get inserted into the table. Okay, so now let's execute this query. Okay, select it and execute. See, the query is successfully executed. Okay, now we can verify this query by inserting different values. Okay, so see, first is insert first row by using query insert into employee. Okay, then write down keyword values. Okay, and then specify values for all the attribute. My employee ID is 1, then second is e-name. So I have given one e-name, that is ABC for example. Third is department ID, so department ID is 2, and then next I have attribute department ID. After department ID I have salary. Okay, so here I have given 6,000 for example, and then last is phone number. So phone number is given here. Now insert this value, insert this row into the table. See, query is successfully executed, so row is inserted. Now here we have given all the values that satisfy all constraint. One employee ID is having value 1. Now since this is a first row, so it is not null. That is 1. Employee ID is having some value. It is not duplicate value because it is a first row. Okay, so that is satisfied. Now e-name is having not null constraint, so we have specified some data there, so that is also satisfied. Department ID is also there, and salary is also greater than 5,000, and phone number is unique. Okay, since this is the first row, so whatever values you have I have inserted here, all these values are satisfying all the constraints, so row is inserted into the table. Now let's display data from the table. Select star from employee. Okay, execute it. See, this is your record. Now try to insert more rows with different data. Okay, so employee. Now here I am inserting same employee ID, that is 1. Okay, different name, then one department ID is there, then salary is there. Okay, now we are verifying here primary key constraint. Salary is given and phone number is also given. Okay, now try to insert this row. See, at the output section you can verify the result, that is one error is there. And what is error? So here values keyword is missing. Now try to insert this query. See, you have got the error. Error is duplicate entry 1 for key employee dot primary. Okay, since here we already have employee ID 1, and again I am trying to insert same employee ID, that is 1, but employee ID is the primary key. So here error is duplicate entry 1 for primary key, means you cannot insert duplicate value into the primary key. Okay, now let's have variation of this query. See, now I am inserting 2 as an employee ID. Okay, and here my e-name should not be null, but I am inserting null value here. Okay, so null is written. Then department ID is given, salary is given, and phone number is given. Now try to execute this query. See, now you have got the error that column ename cannot be null because we have given not null constraint on ename. Okay, similarly, now suppose here I am again changing the value. Here one name is mentioned. Now see, in department ID we also have not null constraint for department ID. Okay, so now here if I try to insert null value for department ID, then also I'll get the error. See, column department ID cannot be null because we have given not null constraint on department ID. Okay, so this is how constraint gets checked while inserting data or while updating rows. If you try to update data from the table, then also your system will check the constraint. Okay, now next let's take another variation for the same query. We have given check constraint on salary, that is salary should be greater than equal to 5000. Now let's try to insert value less than 5000. Okay, so here I'm giving value of salary that is 4000. Okay, now try to execute this query. See, at the output you can verify the error that is check constraint is violated. Okay, because we have given check constraint that salary should be greater than equal to 5000, and here I have given value 4000, means here that value is not satisfying the check constraint, so I got the error. Okay, now see here I have given value 5000. Now we have given unique constraint to phone attribute, that is the phone number should be unique for all the rows. Now my first four in this insert query my first four values are satisfying all the constraint. Now let's take phone number value. I am inserting same phone number value for the second record as that of first record. See, first record is having phone number 1023456788. And here also for second record I am inserting same phone number. Now let's verify this constraint also. See, you have got the error duplicate entry, that is a value of phone number for key employee dot phone. We have given unique constraint to phone attribute, that's why we cannot enter duplicate value. Okay, so this is how you can assign constraint to the attribute, and you can verify whether your constraints are working or not by inserting different types of values. Okay, so now we have created one table with primary key constraint, not null constraint, then check constraint, and here unique constraint. Okay, so now let's create another table here. Create table, suppose I am creating one student table. Okay, student, then my first attribute is roll number. Okay, and I want to set roll number as a primary key, so I have written primary key. Okay, then I want to save name of students also, so here S name is given, which is of character type, and name should not be null. Okay, so not null is written here, and now I want to store branch. Okay, see, I'm creating this table for computer branch students. Okay, I want to store data for students who have enrolled in computer branch only. Okay, so the value of branch will be computer only. Okay, but here I am giving default constraint. Okay, so default constraint, you can specify that constraint immediately after the definition of your attribute, that is branch, varchar, size is given, and then default. So I want default value for this constraint, that is comp. Okay, means if you miss the value, if you skip the value of this branch attribute while inserting data, then it will insert a default value computer, that is comp. Okay, execute this query. See, your query is successfully executed. Okay, now try to insert value into the table. Insert into student values, roll number 1, then some name is given. Okay, name is not null, and my third attribute is what? It is branch. Okay, so branch given is computer here. I am inserting this row. Now all these values are satisfying all the constraints. So row is inserted into the table. So select star from student. Now see, this is your data. Roll number 1, name is A, and branch is computer. Okay. Now see, try another variation of insert query. Insert into student. Okay, and here I am giving attribute roll number. Okay, and s name. I am giving only this two attribute. Then values, and here specify roll number and specify name. Okay, see, now your table has three attributes: roll number, name, and branch. But while inserting data, you are specifying values for only roll number and name. Okay, so try to insert this row. So row is inserted. Now let's verify the value of branch. You have not given the value of branch. Now verify it. See, at the second record you can verify result, that is roll number is 2, name is B, which are the value given by you, and here branch is com, because while creating table we have specified branch default value is com. Okay, means whenever you specify default value for any attribute, then if you skip the value of that attribute while inserting data, then that default value will get set for that particular attribute. But here for default, you cannot use this insert query, that is insert into student values and then specify all values. This query cannot be used. Okay, you have to use this second version of insert query, that is insert into table name, then in brackets specify the attribute for which you want to insert data, then write down values keyword and then specify the values for all the enlisted attribute. Okay, so this is how we have verified default constraint also. Okay, now up till now we have seen how to apply constraint at the time of table creation. Now let's see how to apply constraint after table creation. So here I am again creating new table. Suppose create a table voter. Okay, so create table voter. In this table I am storing value or storing data for all the persons who are voting in a election. So my first attribute is voter ID, which is of integer type. My second attribute is voter name, which is of character type. Okay, and my third attribute is age, which is again of integer type. Okay, so see, now here I have created table only, I have not given any constraint. So my table is created, but this table is not having any constraint. Now let's see how to apply constraint after table creation. Now I want to make voter ID as a primary key, so I can simply write alter table voter add constraint primary key, and in bracket write down the name of attribute to which you want to make a primary key. Okay, and execute this query. So query is successfully executed, means now your VID, that is voter ID attribute, is a primary key. Here when you write query alter table voter add constraint, here I have written alter table voter add constraint primary key. Okay, so here you can specify the name of constraint also, like alter table voter add constraint, and here you can specify any user defined name. Suppose I have written pk1, then primary key VID, then this pk1 will be a name of this primary key. Okay, then next again execute same query alter table voter. Now I want to apply check constraint to age attribute. Okay, so alter table voter add constraint check. Okay, I want to add check constraint, so I want to while inserting data I want to check whether age is greater than equal to 18. Okay, so I can simply write constraint check and check age greater than equal to 18. Execute this query. Okay, so see, your query is successfully executed means this check constraint is applied to age attribute. Now whenever any user try to insert data in this voter table, then system will check the value of age. If the value is greater than equal to 18, then only it will allow the insertion of record into the table. Otherwise the error will get displayed by the system. Okay, so this is how we can apply constraint after table creation. Okay, now see, try to apply not null constraint. Able voter add constraint not null. Now I want to apply not null constraint to voter name. I don't want voter name to have null value. Okay, so I have written query alter table voter add constraint not null to voter name. Now execute this. See, you have got the different error. That is, check a manual that correspond to your MySQL server version for the right syntax. Okay, so here the error is displayed for not null constraint because not null is not a table level constraint. It is a column level constraint. Whatever constraint we apply at the time of table creation, all those constraints are column level constraint because we specify those constraints immediately after column definition, and whatever constraint we apply after table creation using alter table commands, all those constraints are called as table level constraint. Okay, so we can apply primary key after table creation, we can apply check, we can apply unique constraint or default constraint after table creation by using alter table command, but this not null constraint cannot be applied after table creation. Okay, we have to apply this not null constraint at the time of table creation only. Okay, that's why we got the error for this alter table not null command. Okay, so now we have seen how to give constraint at the time of table creation and how to apply constraint after table creation. Okay. Now let's see how to apply foreign key constraint on any table. Okay, so foreign key is what? It is a referential integrity constraint which is used to link different tables together. When we want to access data from more than one table, then we have to use foreign key. So foreign key is nothing is a attribute which is common in more than one table. Okay, it is a common attribute, and by using that common attribute we can access data or we can link different tables together. So that common attribute is a primary key in one table and it is a simple attribute in another table. Okay, if any attribute is common and if any attribute is set as a foreign key to access data from more than one table, then that attribute cannot be a primary key of both the tables. Okay, it is a primary key of one table and it is a simple attribute in another table. Okay, so let's create one database first. Here I am creating one bank database which is used to handle bank management system. Okay, so bank database is created. Open this database for the use. Database is now ready to use. Now here I am creating one table which is used to hold information about all the branches of that bank. Okay, so here I have one branch table. So my first attribute is branch ID. Okay, so branch ID is my first attribute. It is of integer type and it is a primary key. Okay, now I have another attribute that is city in which that branch is located. Okay, so city is here size, and I am giving not null constraint to city, and last attribute is phone attribute. Okay, it is of integer type and it is also having not null constraint. Okay, so here my table is created. Now I am again creating another table. Create table depositor. Okay, so depositor table is used to store the information about all customers of bank. Okay, means the customers who have accounts in different branches of the bank. So here I am creating that table, create table depositor. My first attribute is depositor ID. Okay, which is of integer type, and it is a primary key. Okay, primary key of this table. Then my second attribute is depositor name, character type. See, it is not always necessary to give constraint to any attribute. Okay, you can skip the constraint. So for department name, I'm not for depositor name, I'm not giving any attribute. Then I have branch ID attribute. Okay, so branch ID is nothing but the ID of branch in which that depositor is having account. Now I want to link these two tables together, branch and depositor. Okay, so which is a common attribute between these two table? Branch ID. Okay, in branch table we have branch ID attribute, which is a primary key. In depositor table we have BID attribute, which is also used to refer to the branch ID. Okay, and it is a simple attribute in this table. Now I am connecting these two table by using foreign key constraint. So here, after definition of branch ID, I can simply write branch ID integer, write down keyword references, means this branch ID is referring to which table? To branch table. Okay, and in that branch table, it is referencing to branch ID attribute. Okay, so this is how you can mention foreign key. See, here is the definition of foreign key. I have one common attribute between both the table. In branch table, I have branch ID, which is a primary key. In depositor table, I have branch ID, that is BID attribute, which is a simple attribute. Okay, and by using this common attribute, we can link two tables. So I have simply written BID in depositor table. I have written BID integer, and this BID is referencing to branch table, and in that branch table, it is referencing to branch ID attribute. Okay, so this is simply we can apply foreign key constraint. And then my last attribute in depositor table is balance integer. Okay, and it should not be null. Okay, so this is how you can apply foreign key to the table. Now execute this query. See, table is successfully created. Now these two tables are linked to each other by using common attribute, that is branch ID. Okay, see, common attribute means the attribute is referencing to same domain. They are used to store same type of values. Okay, common attribute doesn't mean that both the attributes are having same name. The name of attributes may be different, but they are pointing to similar type of data. Okay, and by using that common attribute, we can access data from the from both the tables. Okay, so here let's insert some data into both the tables. So I have inserted data, insert into branch values. Okay, I am inserting data into branch table. Then first is branch ID, second is city of branch, that is Mumbai, and third is phone number. Okay, so I have given some value for phone number also. Okay, data is successfully inserted. Display this data. Select star from branch. Okay, so data is displayed. Now insert data into depositor table. Insert into depositor values. First is depositor ID, second is what? Depositor name, third is branch ID. Okay, suppose branch ID is 1, and next is balance. Depositor ID, depositor name is given, branch ID is given, and balance. Okay, so values are inserted. Now select data from depositor also. Okay, so this is depositor. Now we'll see how to access data from both the table by using branch ID. It is a foreign key. See, in branch table we have branch ID, city and phone number. In depositor table we have depositor ID, depositor name, branch ID and balance. Now I want to display depositor ID, then branch ID, branch name and balance. Okay, see now branch name is not there in depositor table, and depositor ID and balance is not there in branch table. So we need to link these two tables together. So I can write query select. First I want to display depositor ID, that is DID. Then I want to display branch ID, okay, BID. I want to display branch name. Now branch name is where it is in branch table, or the city of that branch. So city is here and balance. Okay. So I have enlisted four attribute. Out of these four attribute, three attribute are from depositor table and one attribute is from branch table. Okay. So I have written query select this four attribute from. First write down name of table, that is depositor. Okay, I am extracting data from both the table from depositor comma branch. You need to enlist two tables, okay, because these attributes are the part of these two tables. Okay, so select DID, BID, balance, city from depositor comma branch, where depositor dot BID equals to branch dot branch ID. Okay, so this is how we can use foreign key as a condition. See, here I have written condition where depositor dot branch ID equals to branch dot branch ID. Okay, because it is a common attribute. Now if you execute this query, you will get the result, that is depositor ID 1, branch ID 1, balance is 50,000 and city is Mumbai. This is how we can access data from more than one table. See here, depositor ID, branch ID, balance. These three are the attribute of depositor table and city is the attribute of branch table. But here in both the tables we have common attribute, that is branch ID. So by comparing that branch ID in where condition, we can access data from both the table. Okay, so this is how foreign key can be applied. Then we have seen how to apply foreign key at the time of table creation. If you want to apply foreign key after table creation, then you can simply write alter table depositor, okay, add constraint foreign key, okay, in bracket write down attribute BID. On BID attribute you want to apply foreign key constraint, and then write down references branch ID. Okay, so this is how you can apply foreign key constraint after table creation by using alter table command. Alter table depositor, add constraint foreign key on BID attribute, and that BID attribute is referencing to branch table, and in that branch table it is referencing to branch ID. Okay, so in today's session we have studied different constraint in relational model in database management system. Okay, and we have executed all the queries. Thank you.